Hello adventurers, and welcome to the next installment of Eberron Historian. Today we continue our in-depth look at the Dragons of Eberron. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest checking it out beforehand. I'll wait here till you get back. Alright, welcome back. In today's lecture, we'll take a closer look at the dragons of the continent of Sarlona and the roles they play in this distant land. Please remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons below if you're enjoying our content, and switch notifications on to stay up to date as we release new lectures in the future. Let's get started. The continent of Sarlona is a place of great mystery to outsiders, and tales of Sarlonan dragons rarely reach other shores, if at all. In truth, the dragons of Arganessen have long shunned the lands of Sarlona since the earliest centuries of their own history, and the reason why is a matter of speculation. Some scholars believe that the dragons fear the Kori masters of Sarlona, though this seems laughable in the face of the dragon's power to desolate entire continents. Other theories involve the Draconic prophecy. It is possible that the dragons believe that Sarlona may be subject to some prophesized cataclysm, or that the continent holds no significance to the prophecy itself. The absence of dragon marks among the people of Sarlona seems to lend weight to the latter theory. Prior to the Sundering, Sarlonan history is fragmented and incomplete, but certain Sarlonan prophets whisper that most dragons shun the continent due to a collective shame or guilt about the demise of their allies, the Coatls, against the Archfiends back in the Age of Demons. With Sarlona having been the birthplace of the Coatl race, this connection causes the dragons great pain. Whatever the truth, the dragons of Arganessen do not speak of their disinterest in Sarlona, but within the shroud of mystery, many dragons do call Sarlona home. The most common of tales to reach foreign shores speaks of the Storm Guardians of Adar, a cabal of dragon sentinels that protect the borders of the Adaran nation from outsiders, and have long kept the forces of Redra at bay. Rarely seen, the Storm Guardians are usually just dark shapes within the raging storms that they summon. In truth, the Storm Guardians are real, and they do protect the borders of Adar, but not to oppose Redra or protect the people of Adar. As the birthplace of the Coatl, Sarlona became their stronghold during the Age of Demons. And legend has it that the Arnadiv mountains on Adar's northern border were raised by the Coatl to keep the horrors at bay. The Storm Guardians are a group of mostly blue dragons that protect Adar's borders to preserve the land's Coatl legacy. Further to this, a Rakshasa Raja named Ran Ishiv, who is imprisoned within a Kyber dragon shard, lays somewhere beneath the land of Adar, constantly under watch by the Storm Guardians to ensure the Archfiend's prison should never be compromised. The Storm Guardians do not stand alone in their mission. Other draconic creatures often rally to the Storm Guardians' cause, such as the dragon turtles and sea drakes that protect the southern shores of Adar. Tales of dragons throughout the other lands of Sarlona are varied and saturated in mystery. Over a millennium ago, the Kori, malevolent creatures from the Plane of Dreams, used their influence to trigger the Sundering, an event that saw the Kori gain almost total domination over the continent of Sarlona, using human thralls that came to be known as the Inspired over 3 centuries of war. With the Inspired now ruling over most of Sarlona, they rewrote Sarlona's history in their own image, leaving only fragments of the land's true history to be found, and records of dragon activity almost forgotten completely by the other parts of the world. In truth, Sarlona has long been the destination of rogue dragons, those who have left their homes on other continents. Reasons for coming to Sarlona are varied, and can be for personal or political reasons. These can make great plot hooks and storylines for your Eberron campaign. Exile. A dragon might be excommunicated by the Arganessen factions for a crime heinous enough to warrant such a punishment. Self-exile. Wanting to evade the eyes of the Arganessen elders or meddlesome factions like the Eyes of Cronepsis, a rogue dragon might relocate to Sarlona so that they can perform their own arcane experiments without persecution or scrutiny. Boredom. A rogue dragon may descend upon Sarlona simply to carve out a territory for themselves and accrue wealth and followers. Before the Sundering, much of Sarlona was ruled by powerful Sorcerer Kings, such as the kingdoms of Aventus, Corvagura, and Canaan. Rumour has it that some of these Sorcerer Kings may have actually been rogue dragons disguised in human form. Some scholars believe this is how the draconic blood flowing in the veins of modern-day human sorcerers came to be. They are the descendants of these ancient draconic Sorcerer Kings, who then emigrated from Sarlona to Corvair. Following the Sundering, the forces of the Inspired throughout Sarlona often take a secure perimeter approach to the rogue dragons that call the continent home. The Inspired will observe the rogue dragons and most often leave them to their own devices as long as they don't come into conflict with human settlements. If there are any troublesome dragons, they will simply attempt to drive them away to either Adar or other remote places such as the tundra before resorting to outright conflict with them. An exception to this is Psionic Dragons. Perhaps a threat to the Inspired's domain of psionic domination, they will attempt to destroy any psionic dragons with prejudice. Despite this secure perimeter policy, there are rumours of the Inspired having a darker purpose for allowing the rogue dragons to stay on Sarlona. Some say that dragon eggs and wormlings are being kidnapped by the Inspired for the purpose of raising and indoctrinating them to the Inspired cause, or creating new draconic vessels that can be inhabited by the Kori themselves. On the subject of psionic dragons, it is said that some rogue dragons of ancient Sarlona approached the Yuan-Ti and Shulasakar, the feathered Yuan-Ti of the ancient kingdom of Kalesh. These dragons wanted to learn the secrets of psionic power, and they soon discovered that this carried a terrible price for those of draconic blood. As children of Sibiris, the dragons have the power of the arcane in their very blood, and this arcane heritage does not react well with psionic influence. For the lucky ones, dabbling in psionics leads to illness and disfigurement, and in the worst cases, complete insanity and death. There are creatures that stalk the Sikan and Redran deserts, horrifying aberrations that are draconic in appearance and wield both magical and psionic ability. Known as Essence Reavers, these are said to be a possible result of dragons meddling in the psionic arts. Like their cousins of distant continents, and dragons in most other D&D settings, a Sarlonan dragon loves a good treasure hoard. Due to the shattered nature of Sarlona's past, a dragon's hoard might contain as much of a wealth of knowledge and information as it does riches. Sarlonan dragons have a habit of inhabiting ancient pre-Sundering vaults and ruins that contain some of the last remaining fragments of the land's history, as well as powerful relics of ages past and a wealth of coinage thought lost forever by most. The Inspired are usually happy enough to leave these ancient magical locations alone. A powerful relic guarded by a rogue dragon is unlikely to fall into the hands of the Inspired's enemies, although they will keep tabs on these hoards just the same. Some vaults hidden away in the mountains of Adar are guarded by the Storm Guardians themselves. These are said to contain ancient relics from as far back as the Age of Demons, and are vehemently defended by the Storm Guardians and their allies. We'll be covering another topic in the next episode, but there will be more dragon lore covered in the future, as we still need to take a closer look at the culture of Arganessen and the dragons of Gendrick. Sarlona and its history will definitely get a video of its own too. If you enjoyed this installment of Eberron Historian, please hit those like and subscribe buttons below, and turn notifications on so you're informed when a new episode comes out, which I will endeavour to deliver on a more regular basis. If you like free battle maps or the music I use throughout this video, please swing by my Patreon. For the price of a coffee, you can pick up a monthly pack including D&D soundtrack I composed myself and a battle map to accompany it. As always, thank you to the loyal patrons who keep the channel lights on. Happy rolling, adventurers, and I will see you soon.